Hi and welcome back. And in this video, we're going to be talking about why some people start a CIC when actually they should have started a CIO, a charity. I'm going to be talking again about the difference and why people make this common mistake. And what I need to drum into everybody is that when you start a community interest company, you need to still have something you're going to sell. So you need to be able to bring in some other kind of income that isn't related to grant funding and fundraising. If all you are going to do is grant fund and fundraise, then you need to be looking at a CIO, a charity. And also in this video, I'm going to be covering what the current backlog is and what the current situation is with the grant funding and how likely it is for you to get funding at the moment. So before I jump into that, please hit the subscribe button for everything to do with CIC's grant funding and everything to do with social enterprises. If you need any extra help from me, jump over to my website where I've got some courses and I've also got my mentoring and you can book a phone call with me. So that aside, let's get into it. So most people are attracted to opening a CIC, probably because they've seen my YouTube channel and they jump straight in and they hear grant funding and they go full steam ahead. And I sometimes get these people come to me as students afterwards, and I find that actually they would have been better if they'd set up a CIO, which is a charity. So I've talked about this before on my channel. The difference is that a CIC is still a normal kind of company in that a CIC will still need to bring in other income. I talked about that again. There's loads of videos on this channel about how you could generate extra income, but you need to either be selling a product or a service, okay? So you might have to be running paid workshops, or you might be getting the local authority to pay you to do workshops. You might get a contract from a school. You might get parents to pay you to run some kind of service for children. Various different ways that you can bring in income. You could also sell books, you could do affiliate marketing, you could have online courses, you could be doing mentoring one-to-one that's paid for online. There are multiple ways that you could get paid. So you need to be thinking, is your idea for a CIC going to be fundable, not just by grant funding, but also by selling products and services? If not, and you just want to fundraise and apply for grants, then you are more likely fitted to a CIO, which is a charity. So you might be thinking, now, what do I think is better? I think a CIC is better than a CIO because you have the flexibility of being able to earn your own income. That I think is important because I think it means you could be sustainable long term. If you are solely reliant on donations and grants, then you are, I think, going to get into murky waters. For example, currently there are massive backlogs with the National Lottery. I have never known it take so long to get applications through the Arts Council or the National Lottery. Now that shows that there's a massive increase in demand for those grants. And a lot of that is to do with Brexit, and obviously the European funding has obviously left this country. So that means that the other funding that's been left is under much higher demand. Coupled with that, we've got the cost of living crisis, which means people are thinking of starting CICs to earn extra money. It means that there are lots of holes in the system, in society, where the mainstream structures aren't working very well, whether it be the GPs or the schools, etc. So people are being entrepreneurial and are starting social enterprises to solve some of these problems that have risen out of obviously years of austerity and now the cost of living crisis. Coupled with all of that, we of course had the pandemic and a total shift in what people want out of life. A lot of people are leaving their corporate jobs, their professions, and they're wanting to work for themselves because they're wanting more balance of time at home, maybe with their families, or they're wanting the freedom of being able to run their own business as opposed to working. You also see a massive growth in home-ed children, which means you've got a lot more parents at home educating children. Obviously for them, if they can run their own business, that's going to be a lot more doable. So those are all loads of reasons why there is now more demand for grant funding. So that is why you're better off with a CIC than a CIO in lots of ways, because you are able to bring in your own income. So think about your idea and run it through that checklist in your mind of Okay, so what grant funding is realistic? Is there other ways that I could earn money? Is my idea sustainable long term because I'm able to bring in other income? So when you think, if you need help working through your idea, please feel free to jump over to my website, jump in the chat and just say, this is my idea for a CIC. Do you think it's more like a CIO, or do you think this is a workable CIC? I'm someone that has loads of ideas, so I'll be able to ideas storm easily with you, and I'll be able to give you loads of different ideas of how you can make extra income and create a sustainable CIC long term.